On this wonderful March 21st, 2023. This is our regular meeting of the Board of Education. We're the Board of Education. We're joined by our superintendent, Dr. R.J. Weber, the Colt team. Just want to thank them and the Ed Tech team and Ms. Irving for setting us up as they always do tonight. Why don't we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I think we will be handing it over to Mr. Jones and Ms. Lawson, I believe.
Mr. Piazza, thank you very much. All right. Mrs. Lawson and students, we've got kind of a special feature. We've got some of our students who will be reciting the pledge, and then we've got Mrs. Lawson and some of her students who will be doing it in American Sign. I have my speakers come this way to the mic.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Good job. Thank you. Thank you so much for that wonderful Pledge of Allegiance. That was pretty special. I think that's the first time I've seen that, at least. That brings us to our roll call. Dr. Campbell-Boytel, please, would you do the honors?
I would be happy to. Mr. Lindsay Wilson,
Here.
Ms. Sarah Prescott,
Here, hi, everyone.
Ms. Lisa McIntyre will be late tonight, Mr. James Mazurek,
Here.
Ms. Karen Meyer,
Here.
Ms. Melissa Stewart,
Here.
and myself, Kimberly Campbell-Boytel, I am here.
Thank you so much. That brings us to number 4 on our agenda, the adoption of our agenda. Ms. Prescott, would you do the honors of presenting that?
Yes, it's motion 90. I would just move that the board adopt the agenda as presented.
Support. So I have a motion properly presented by Ms. Prescott and supported by Mr. Mazurek. Any discussion needed on our agenda? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So that motion passes. Thank you so much. That brings us to number 5 on our agenda. That is our consent resolutions. These are matters that we have had pretty sufficient time to vet in our subcommittees or at prior meetings. And so we don't usually discuss these at least much. So Ms. Prescott, do you mind presenting that as well?
Yes, it's motion number 91. I would move that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. A, minutes of the March 14th, 2023 Board of Education meeting. B, minutes of the March 14th, 2023 closed session meeting of the Board of Education. C, overnight or out of state field trip requests. 1, for the first NHS First Robotics State Championship in Saginaw from April 6th to the 8th, 2023. 2, for the NHS Academic Games Competition in Orlando, Florida from April 21st to the 25th, 2023. 3, the Meads Mill Academic Games Competition in Orlando, Florida from April 21st to the 26th, 2023. Going back to D, then outside of these field trips, water main easement agreement between Northville Public Schools and the city of Northville.
Support. So I have a motion properly presented again by Ms. Prescott and supported again by Mr. Mazurek. Any discussion on any of these items? I do think the easement matter, maybe Mr. Zoff, if you don't mind giving 2 or 3 bullets on that just for the public's understanding.
While Mr. Banchero is walking up, I'll use the time to say, I really want to just give a shout out to our friends at Academic Games and Robotics. These field trips are for championship competitions. These are earned spots and berths in these different competitions, some of them national in scope. Our kids work very, very hard to achieve this, and they should be commended, as should the coaches and parents who support them. So good luck, guys.
Thank you for that, Mr. Banchero.
So the water main easement that's in front of you today is a pretty common item with a construction project of this size. We actually built what is going to become a public water main around this building.
the fire hydrant leads and the connection to this building is part of our system, a private system. But when this project was all said and done, the easement needs to be recorded, but we drafted the easement agreement with the help of the city. Once this board approves it, it then will go to city council for their approval. We will register the easement with the county, and that water main work becomes part of the public system. In the future, if there's any repairs or maintenance needed on that system, the city will actually perform that task. We will not. So it's pretty common for a construction project of this size and scope.
Excellent. Any further discussion or questions? All right, so I have, if I haven't said it already, a motion properly presented by Ms. Prescott and supported by Mr. Mazurek. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you so much for that. That brings us to number 6 on our agenda, communications. Dr. Campbell-Voitel, please.
Yes, we have received communications through the NPSBOE email, and we also have received the board highlight from Wayne Risa summarizing their activity.
Any discussions or questions about our communications? Okay, that brings us to number 7 on our agenda. Dr. Weber, your superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, President Wilson. This evening, I know Ms. McIntyre is attending a special event which is open to the public, and she's there because of her daughter, and it's our IB art show, which kicks off tonight. If we remember from, I believe, our last meeting or maybe a couple ago, Miss Miller, IB art teacher at the high school, was getting that together, and it's at the art house right across from Old Village School. So I encourage each of you to, and the entire community, to go take a look and see that. Today, released a podcast with Chelsea Simons, who leads our early childhood, and definitely worth a listen onto her why. The notion of the Mustang Moments podcast is really for me to stay curious and interview folks who have made this district what it is and continue to make it what it is. So Mike Rumbell, also a student, a parent, and now Miss Simons on the podcast. So that just I saw released. Visited Cook's School today with Trustee Meyer. Spent a couple hours there. And again, one of those pieces that I wish the world could see. What we do to serve each of our students in public education is stunning. And the students who are in Cook are from 9 different school districts from around our area. And it was said to me today, and it really struck me that these students are truly the 1% percentage of students whose needs are so acute and so intense that they need a special level of care. And observations that we made today, you're looking at basically one-on-one care for many of these students. And if you question the veracity and the beauty of public education at any point in your life, which I hope no one in this room does, but if you do and you want me to take you there to show you why we do what we do, I'd be happy to do so. Grading and Reporting Committee met today. They've been meeting through the year. I see one of our teachers is here who's in that committee, and really trying to better capture and communicate to parents how our students are doing, how they're doing in a way that is healthy. So more on that to come. Ms. Prescott mentioned the 2 competitions going forth shortly, but I also want to remind everyone that we have a robotics team going to Houston in April. And that is the global competition for the FTC robotics. So I can't wait to hear about their experience, and hopefully they'll keep us updated on the social media and so on. Today was at Meads Mill as well, and they found out I'm the snow day guy. Not superintendent, not the butler, the president, which I've been called in other schools. And that won't surprise you, as middle school students, they wanted just one more. And I said that our snow team that's sitting across from me is, we're done. We're done, hopefully till next year, because we don't need one more. And then a thank you to the committed citizens of Northville who have been putting their shoulders into our May 2nd bond vote, spreading information, putting that out there, meeting. And you're going to see more of that to come. So that's what I have, President Wilson. And I know we have, looks like 6 ABCD awards.
Yes, we do. I think without further ado, we'll hand it over to Ms. Prescott, right?
All right, I'm very excited. So the ABCD awards came about in the last couple of years as we I wondered what we as a board could do to recognize people who have contributed to the district in ways that needed to be lifted up and were certainly worthy of the board's attention and community knowledge, and we're shining a light on those contributions. And so should we start with Carrie Casavari? Who did you do? Who was going to do?
I'm doing
Lauren,
Miss,
you had her?
yes, I have Miss
I'll get my list
Case-Beer.
out while you do her.
Oh, so I am really excited to be able to do this one because as I'm reading it over, and I know that we've really talked a lot about this in many of our school board meetings, is about our wonderful unified program. And Ms. Case-Beer was nominated because she is a founding member of the middle school unified program that was launched this year. The person who submitted her said she helped coordinate and submit all of the paperwork, was an integral member in the planning process, and is a coach for the unified basketball team here at Hillside. She promotes and creates an inclusive environment in both her classroom and throughout the school. Her work with Unified and Inclusion has created opportunities that both students with disabilities and general education peers will benefit from as they develop friendships and lasting connections. Thank you for supporting all the students and making Hillside a place where all students feel included. So how fortunate are we have to have Ms. Case-Beer, so thank you. Is she here? Yay!
And I'll call on Ms. Stewart to help us lift up Jason Brooks.
All right, and I see Mr. Brooks is here as well. So Mr. Brooks is one of the English teachers here at Hillside, and he has been nominated by 2 students. The nominations are very lengthy, so I'm just going to read just a little snippet from each one. You obviously do a good job because your kids are prolific in their writing skills here. Last year, when everyone went back to school all in person, I also have a hard time getting through these without crying, so just bear with me. It was hard on everyone. The second I walked in, oh my goodness. The second I walked into that classroom, at the end of the first day, felt like I belonged somewhere. Fantastic. The next one, oh my goodness. I have just pulled out a couple of sentences on this one. You'll get to read it all when you get these hard copies. Mr. Brooks is one of the best teachers I have ever had. He teaches in a way in which all of his students learn and grow in his class. His personality as a teacher and as a human takes a normal class to a whole new level. Mr. Brooks has even planned stories for him to tell us throughout the year just for our delight and pleasure, which I know about personally as my current 9th grader came home last year constantly with stories about ranch dressing and college escapades. It was a lot, and it was wonderful because my student is not an ELA kid, and he said, oh goodness, your class was his favorite. So congratulations.
Wow.
And I get to go back to back. So
Ms. Lawson.
pull it together. My goodness. Miss Lawson, who is also here, and I have also had the fortune of having one of my kids in her class, which is why I snatched both of these teachers up when I saw the list. Miss Lawson teaches math here at Hillside. During my first year of middle school, we were in lockdown with hybrid or online learning. Truthfully, at that time, I was not looking forward to middle school given the unfortunate circumstances. No matter how stressful the day could be or how chaotic the world could be around us, she would always make every one of her students smile. Even though her jokes were corny, I still remember this one as my personal favorite. What do you call a number that can't keep still? Anyone? A roaming numeral. Cringy, I know. Those are her words, not mine, sorry. So I truly just want to let her know how much my classmates and I will miss her next year when we move on to the high school. So thank you, Miss Lawson.
Thank you. We're going to move to Ms. Hardy, and I'll go back to Ms. Meyer for that.
All right. I think every teacher, everyone is a teacher here at Hillside. Okay, that's wonderful.
So far.
That worked out. Okay. So Ms. Hardy was nominated by a student, and the student says that she's a very welcoming classroom. She always has a positive attitude and is always calm and kind towards all of her students. I love this little detail. Not only does she have a warm smile on her face, but she has a Diet Mountain Dew nearby. Kids notice these things, right? She's constantly looking out for us and makes sure we have a fun, safe, and amazing environment for history. I look forward to her 7th hour class every day, knowing that I can come into a teacher who I trust and respect. Her classroom is always friendly and something that feels just about like home. So thank you, Ms. Hardy. Is Ms. Hardy here? No? All right. Wow. Thank you.
So I get to go next, and I couldn't have been more excited to get to lift up Mary, who is here tonight. So those of you, I'll tell you why she was nominated, but those of you who have not had the chance to meet Mary, I hope you someday will. She is just an incredible recent or more recent hire to NHS. And she is a homegrown an NPS graduate. So we're so proud. I remember when we hired her and I was so excited to be able to do that. So then, of course, have I also been excited to see her contributions, some of them at the entire district level with the Welcome Back, for example, and big surprise, she's lifted up by her colleagues and some of her peers. So here's what some of them had to say. Mary works hard to create inclusion opportunities for her students. Not only does she support them, but she also coaches in the unified sports after school. She's a lifelong learner. She seeks advice from others to further her understanding. She's committed to this community. She fosters inclusivity, understanding, and acceptance. She uses evidence-based practices and data-driven learning. She is a model educator that everyone can learn alongside. She has been integral in planning, developing, and implementing Hillside's unified program. She works collaboratively. She is a champion for all. And she creates an environment where students with disabilities and general education peers are connected and form lasting friendships. And I don't know how you could summarize a person or their contributions in more beautiful, like that's the whole package. So Mary, we really congratulate you. Okay, Miss Yu, or is Miss Yu here? So I have not gotten to meet her, which is my regret, because what can you say about a teacher, a math teacher in this case, who has, like one other person tonight, been lifted up by her students. So her students came forward to ask us to recognize Miss Yu, and they talk about her being an amazing teacher, going the extra mile to help individual students in their understanding and in their deepening of their appreciation for her subject in math. They talk about her as an all-around great educator. They speak to her patience and her kindness, and the way that that makes them feel included, the way that that makes them feel important, and gives them that place in the building where when they go there, they feel like they have a home and in a location where they can be who they are and be themselves in an authentic way. And so to have students feeling that way, in addition to delivering the education, is one of the reasons we wanted to lift up Miss Yu and just congratulate and thank her on behalf of the entire board. Thank you. And that closes
On a
our.
side note, I love when I hear students, and we have a couple of math teachers, right? It is so cool to get parents and students nominate math teachers. Math teachers, are not always known as the most flashy, flamboyant type, and have kids get excited about math is such a great thing. So I love it when I see that, right? It just gives me tingles up my spine, and that doesn't happen very often, but congratulations to the team.
Thank you. Dr. Weber, does that conclude your report?
Yeah, I'm going to audible here for a second. Principal Jones, Assistant Principal Provo, Assistant Principal Mutri. I think a picture with the three of you and your Hillside crew that just cleaned the clock today might be really nice, because I'm sure the three of you are really proud. So Miss Peck, if you could grab a pic of them, I think that would be fantastic. And then I am indeed finished.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Let's give them a second.
What a great feeling, though. I like that notion, and maybe that's just as we're finding our way with these, of finding as many staff members from that particular building we're in. Could be a good idea.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
So this was not intentional tonight? No? Oh, wow.
Stars align.
All right.
So,
Big smile. Come on, Jones, big smile. All right. Cool. Thank you.
well, thank you so much for that. So that brings us to number 8 on our agenda. That is public comment. This is our first of 2 opportunities for members of the public to give comment. We allow for 3 minutes. Anyone in the public have comment that they'd like to provide for the board? Going once, going twice. All right, there will be another opportunity later in the evening, maybe not much later. But that brings us, I believe, to number 9 on our agenda, which is really the reason that we are all here today. We love to be in the schools and to hear what the schools have been up to. This school in particular, it's fun seeing it sort of become lived in a little bit, right? I actually had the opportunity to be in Ms. Curran's class maybe a month or so ago, and when I was walking the halls while all the kids were kind of in class, it just had a very different feel, right? You could see art on the walls, and it just had it was starting to become lived in and sort of full of life. So we're all really happy to be here and see what you guys have to present to us. So I'll hand it over to Mr. Jones.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wilson. I am Bill Jones. I'm the principal here at Hillside, and I am very proud to be here tonight for a variety of reasons that you will see shortly. I will do very little of the speaking because I am surrounded by a fantastic team of administrators, of teachers, of students, of innovators, and people who really believe that all means all. So I am going to get chugging here for a little bit and thank all of our students who participated in the pledge. That was some of our student leaders. Mrs. Lawson actually approached me the other day and asked if there was an opportunity for all of her first hour who had taken it upon themselves to learn sign in order to support a student in their class. And I said, I will put as many kids up there as you can get me. So we had a good, healthy chunk of kids who wanted to come to a board meeting on a Tuesday night just to give the pledge and just to support a colleague. So that was great. I'm going to turn things over to Mrs. Mutri for our first segment, which focuses on student leadership and success.
Good evening. All right, so I'm going to kick off this student leadership slide, and I do have some of my student leaders in the back, so you will not hear all of me. But the team is not ran just by myself. Since being hired in, I've met a wonderful group of educators who step up and they show out when given the opportunity to do different things. So currently, this is the team that leads the student leadership team. We have Mrs. Megan Monk, who's over 6th grade, Miss Kelly Moffitt, who's wonderful. She's also here. So for 7th grade, we have Mrs. Colleen Polidorus, and for 8th grade, she is a superwoman of them all, Miss Kendra Kilgore, because not only is she over student council, but she's also an LC in the building, and she just wears so many different hats. She is awesome. And then a new club, which was started, and it's the RAC. So if you have not heard about the RAC, which is the Raiders Act of Kindness, that is something that I came up with, as well as Mrs. Lauren Romeo, who is a member in the community, as well as a Hillside parent, to just support more kindness and just more giving throughout the building. Next slide. Oh, click it. No. Okay. Okay. So some of the 6th grade student council, you have Kylie Shornack, Jake Lawing, Vishruth Guru, and then Zanaya Ismail. And these are some of the things that they've done. They are huge on teacher appreciation, which I think is really, really nice. Appointing that group of teachers, they made it their point to appreciate each other and have the kids throughout to do different things. They also made sure to have them do a school service project, because we know that students learn not by just receiving, but by giving to others. For 7th grade, again, Miss Megan Monk and Miss Colleen Polidorus. That's a picture of her kiddos down there in the corner. And we do have the 7th grade vice president here who will be sharing out with you shortly. And some of the things that they have done, the holiday card community program, that was really special to me, because it's not too often that you see younger people in senior living facilities. And so what those students did, they made cards for the seniors and they delivered them. And of course, we know for some of our seniors, they don't have family that come in and visit them. So for those young people to do that, I was very proud and very happy that she decided to do that. And then of course, we did a teacher gift card giveaway. And then we have upcoming this Kona Truck Fun Day. Everybody loves the Kona truck. All right, for 8th grade, and again, this is ran by Miss Kilgore by herself, pretty much. We have the president, and she is also here, Miss Pia Reddy, and those, her vice president, Miss Serena Berry. This is a powerful group of young women, especially the ones that you see in the back that I just mentioned, because they went to the MASSP Women's Conference earlier this year, but they're very smart, driven, kind-hearted group of young ladies. So again, we're doing the teacher appreciation. They have an upcoming lock-in that is coming up, so the students were super excited about that. They're also going to do necessity bags to the homeless. This is one of the options that they have in attending the event. And then they've had various fundraisers, and so far they are at $541, and then they're still waiting on the lock-in. I told them that will be a big seller, so we will see. All right, and then I'm going to introduce my girls that are coming up. Come on up. And they're going to tell you how they experienced and some of the things that stood out to them at the MASSP Women's Summit. So we went to that in November of this year. Thank you, Aaron, for just making it happen. He put it on our radar and we made it happen. So again, this is Miss Pia Reddy, Miss Isabella Ho, Serena Berry, and Sloan Gregory.
Hi, everyone. So we attended the MASSP Women's Leadership Summit in Grand Rapids back in November, and some of the positive outcomes and experiences that we had and things that we enjoyed include listening to all of the powerful women talk about their lives and their personal experiences on top of advice that they gave us. And we also had breakout rooms that we got to choose, and we got to choose based on our personal interests. And there was a speaker in there, and it was nice interacting with girls from all over the state.
It's so important for girls to attend this event because it teaches us so much about women leadership and truly empowering ourselves. Just from this event alone, I felt that I could take everything I learned back to my school. We are truly the generation that can change the world, and this event plays a huge part in this.
I feel like this event was so eye-opening and inspirational to be able to go to, and I was able to bring so much of what I learned back into my school life and just my life in general. And I really enjoyed going there and just listening to all the inspirational stories. And I think that was just so amazing to be able to hear and experience that. And thank you guys so much for letting us be able to go to that. And it was very just useful to be able to know that we're not alone. We can speak up for what we know is right.
Yeah, so I really feel that Hillside should definitely participate next year in the MASSP Women's Leadership Conference. It really helps with my confidence and showed how much of a leader I could really be. I feel that this can help empower younger women and educate them on being strong, independent in the near future. Thank you.
Wait. We can't stand for you to go. There's no way. There's no way. You are so amazing. Do you mind if I say something?
Oh, absolutely. I have a question as well, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what MASSP is. I was about to Google it, but I would love to hear that. And I won't quiz you guys or put you on the spot for that. So many things to say, but you were wonderful. Thank you for coming and speaking to us and for sharing what this experience was. I have a student at Meads. She's an 8th grader, so this wouldn't be necessarily for her, but for the young women at Meads, seems like something we could take over there and share with them. So that's amazing. And I just wanted to encourage you guys to keep finding your voice with other young people. There has been examples of young women in our district who have changed things for everybody in the district, who have come forth with ideas and passion in the last year. With ideas of things that this board could do differently. And they had presentations, and they had determination behind it, and they had results, and they had data and whatnot, and things changed. So I just want to encourage you that that's a possibility. But whether it's here at this board or anywhere else, you know, I really appreciate your remarks, and I hope you keep leaning into these experiences and finding that camaraderie with others. So thank you for letting me say that.
Yeah, so just to repeat the question, what does MASSP stand for first? And then how were you all chosen? If I'm doing the math right, it looks like a dozen or so high school students and then the 4 of you from Hillside. So how were you chosen and what does it stand for?
Okay, so the MASSP is the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals. And so they run various conferences. They hosted a 5D training so that I could learn how to do the rubric and implement it with the teachers. So they run a series of professional courses for educators, secondary educators throughout the state. And so this is actually their inaugural conference. We didn't even know, but it was the first time doing it for all women, which was really great. And so again, kudos to Aaron for putting that on. He sent it to myself in the high school and we just kind of took off with it. How are they chosen? I chose them. So what was my thinking? Again, so I'm new to the building and Serena has been a sweetheart. Sloan, Isabella's mom kind of found me on transition day, I think it was, and she just talked to me and she just said that she wanted to do great things and she knew I was going to do great things. I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm still doing stuff, so I'm trying to do a good job, but she was just really nice. And so I'm a person that goes off of vibes, good feelings, but also, you know, how do you treat others? How do classmates respond to you? So genuinely, there was no rhyme or reason. I asked the girls, I I do lunch duty every day. And so certain people just stood out. I just asked them if they were interested, what type of career do you want to do? And they spoke up and I said, well, would you be interested? I contacted parents and then we did the thing. So there was no rhyme or, and then of course I looked at grades, that does help, but everyone here has wonderful grades, but that's it. So no
Excellent.
rhyme or reason. Yep.
Other questions? Thank you so much. Congratulations on your awesome summit. Thank you.
I hope I answered that right. I tried to choose friendly faces. I don't know. All of them are friendly. It was just, yeah, they were just
Sounds
really
right to
nice
me.
girls. Yeah, nice girls. And they enjoyed it. So they got to meet Rhonda Walker, as well as U.S. Attorney from the Eastern Michigan District. So they heard all of these wonderful stories. Miss Provo also went. And so it was just great to have girl time and do the thing. So, and they came back greatly enriched. All right, so Raiders Acts of Kindness. So it was started again by myself and Miss Romeo to teach the children the importance of giving back to the community and spreading kindness to Hillside students. But hopefully, as we enrich our children within Hillside, they take it out into Northville and wherever else the world may take them to just be a better place. So the purpose of the club is to do the following. Well, we obviously want to support our students throughout the building in their personal goals. But also spreading kindness, again, throughout the Hillside as well as the Northville community, and then create a positive place for student bonding. All right, so we held a skating party. So these are some pictures. Notice the same kind of girls, same people. But we contacted Bonaventure, and we wanted to raise funds. Well, long story short, kids aren't always the nicest to each other. So going from the classroom, because that is what I literally did last year, to this new administrative position, it wasn't shocking, but it was definitely different. But the lack of niceties at times to students bothered me. It really is just a heavy lift. So I wanted to come to work and smile, and I wanted my kids to smile. So I know it's cheesy, but literally that's why I did it. I just wanted to make kids smile and have them be better. So literally the purpose of the club is to, sit with that kid that's by themselves or to bring them into the group so like over the Christmas holiday, students were given gift cards and they randomly went into the Northville community. They gave out Starbucks. So you did not know if you were standing next to the child that was going to give you a $10 gift card and pay for your coffee that day. So those are the types of things that the students did. And Ms. Romeo loved it. So her organization, the Main Street League, they are all about community service and giving back. So what this activity did, it was a bonding activity. So again, something fun for our kids to get together and skate and just have fun. The world is open. So let's do that, right? Let's smile. And so the money that we raised potentially is going to go to future activities where we continue to give back. We are not taking or asking for anything. We literally just want to help others and keep kids smiling. All right, so rebuilding the Hillside community. I'm going to pause for 2 seconds and hand this over to my partner, Ms. Provo, but I will be back.
Thank you so much. So this piggybacks right in a beautiful way with what we're talking about. And we touched on this a little bit earlier about how much kids have been through in the last 3 years. And so last year we were really close to being back to normal. And this year we really wanted to take the opportunity to really rebuild the Hillside community. So many of our students were either, in these small cohorts or were learning from home. And I think we all needed to remember that schools can be these tremendous places of community where kids belong and can experience wonderful things both inside the classroom and outside. So there's a lot of different pictures up here. The big picture that we have down there is we did a kind of a painting welcome back activity for our staff just to sit together and spend time getting to hear how everybody's families are, and really just spending time together as we started back into the most normal school year that we've had in quite a while. So I'm going to talk about all these different steps that we've taken this year to try to rebuild that community, and show you all the wonderful things that are happening. So we wanted to start the year off with some opportunities for kids to really spend time together and see each other as, their teammates, and build these relationships that they had not had the opportunity to build in a while. So my passion project, as you guys know, is sixth grade camp. And so we were able to bring it back this year, and we took 257 sixth graders. We took 54 parent chaperones. Shout out to Miss Stewart over here. She endured, and it was great, right?
It was
Right.
fantastic. I
Yes,
would
thank you.
recommend it to any fifth grade parent. Yes,
It's absolutely something we want every fifth grader to do. It allows kids to be out in nature, which we know, is amazing for their brains and their development. And kids aren't allowed to have any cell phones, which we thought, this is going to be like a really big thing. And I had this great experience walking to breakfast in the morning, and these girls were talking, and I'm like, hey, how was your night? And they're like, good. And I said, you guys miss your phones? And they were like, oh, we forgot we had phones. And it was just like a really nice experience for them just to be together and really create those relationships. And we do our best to make sure that we're taking kids from the 4 different schools that feed into Hillside and, giving them opportunity to create new relationships. So it was just an amazing thing. So excited that we'll be able to continue with this. I hope this carries on way longer than I am here. It's just such an amazing experience. So we started off with sixth grade camp for our sixth graders. We did the seventh graders did Hollow Weekends at Cedar Point. So that was a great experience for them as well, to be out and about in the community and spending time with their teachers and their peers in a different way than we've been able to for a while. And then our eighth graders, they did the Boo Bash. So they were out and about in downtown Northville. They did some pumpkin carving, some games, dressing up for Halloween. And it was just a really nice way to bring everybody together and develop these relationships back in a more traditional, or what we were used to pre-COVID. So for the district, I know, especially for the secondary, really rebooting our PBIS program, because often what happened during the COVID period is it was much more focused on instruction, and as it should, right? But when we're back into the building and we're having these opportunities to really interact and learn from each other, create relationships, we wanted to make sure that we brought back those things that can make an 11, 12, and 13-year-old go, cool, middle school's cool. And that's really what the goal was with each of these things. So these are lots of different pictures of the things that we're doing. Everything is based on, recognizing students for those positive things that they're doing and helping them to become their best selves and to grow and develop as they, go through the middle school years, which traditionally can be difficult. So we have some pictures up there. One of our new ads this year from Kendra Kilgore, who is one of our LCs, who's amazing, was pop-up sales. So I was just going to highlight this one or a couple of these, but so anytime during the day at Hillside, there'll be a PA announcement between classes that says, all right, Raiders, it's time for a pop-up sale. So students take their Raider Pride cards and they're off and looking for teachers with buckets, and they're able to purchase. We have stickers, we have different treats that they would like to have. We had popsicles at the start of the year, and it's just a really great way for kids to use those Raider Pride cards when they are recognized for demonstrating those values that we look for in our Raiders. So that's been a huge thing this year. We also started this year with our door decorating contest, and we had a couple members of central office out to judge those. And so it really gives our kids in seminar or their LC support or AR classes a chance to work together on something and to produce this little piece of themselves in their little group that kids can be proud of, and that they can explain the meanings for. So we started with our yearly theme, which was this is our first year doing a theme of all in. And so we had each of those classes, those seminar classes or the other classes during that time, create their impression of that. And so really give them a chance to focus on what it means to be all in, and create a demonstration for kids to see. And it just livened up the place. I think one of the board members, I'm not sure exactly who, but talked about, I think Mr. Wilson, about it looking lived in. We really wanted this to become, more of a place that looks like where kids live every day. And when you're talking about, tweens and preteens, it should be bright and vibrant and full of fun and positivity. So wanted to highlight those two things. We also have, you'll see, our Make a Difference Day, where we have Jean Gertley, one of our former parents, who comes back and just does an amazing day of service with our kids and helps them to feel that responsibility that we're all part of making Hillside this great place. So that's a wonderful experience. We also do Fun Fridays, because why not? Who doesn't like to dress up? Today, a lot of the teachers in the building were Rosie the Riveter for Rosie the Riveter Day. So, we try to make sure that, kids have something to look forward to when it is challenging to be in middle school, having these little things that just make it fun and make you feel like you belong, and they can talk with their friends about how they're going to dress and twin and all of those different things. And, I'm sure I speak for all the staff at Hillside when I say that the one day a year that I get to wear pajamas is the best day. So I'm sure the kids feel that way too. And then we have our school store, where students can use those Raider Pride cards to buy all sorts of things from, school supplies. Most of the time it's privileges, which is really cool. I myself sell assistant principal for the hour, where kids can bring a couple friends down, take over my office, do some hallway supervision, do the fun stuff. Mr. Jones sells lunch, bought by Mr. Jones. And so you'll see Mr. Jones going out to Rebecca's in the, snow to buy kids lunch. And it's just a great way for them to feel recognized and special for those things that they do every day. So also all of our classroom teachers have a menu of choices that students can use their Raider Pride cards to buy different privileges, sitting in a teacher's chair, showing a funny pet video, just something that brings light and joy to middle school. So we have these are our Tier 1 interventions, so meaning that we do these on a regular basis for every student at Hillside. So we really focus on this IB learner profile traits. And so every Monday in our seminar classes or support, LC and AR, our students are getting these 5 to 10 minute mini lessons where they're learning about what it means to be reflective or communicators or open-minded. And they watch videos I always try to make sure that they're videos of other teens doing things so that they can see that in themselves, that these are the ways that these things can come out. So that's one of those things we do. They get each character trait about 3 times a year. And then we also do Tune Up Tuesday, which is connected to our behavior data. So we look at, where are the places that we're struggling? What are the things we need to work on? And we try to do it in a fun way. I'm the self-crowned queen of the meme and the GIF. And I try to find ones that will be appealing to these tweens, and it's one of the things I just love the most to do. So we do those on Tuesday. We do daily and weekly recognition. So we're recognizing students based on those learner profile traits and staff members. And, again, just really focusing in on those things that we want to see. We, in the past, had given our Raider Pride cards for Spirit Day. On Thursdays, every Thursday, we do Spirit Day, wear your Raider gear. And this year, we really wanted to focus in on getting those Raider Pride cards for those learner profile traits, for demonstration of those. So they become more valuable. So it's been kind of cool to see. We also do quarterly staff meetings where we review our behavior data with kids, and we're sharing, what places we might need to work on, and try to motivate them, to focus in on being kind to each other and being, good citizens of our school. And then we also do our marking period celebrations, where at the end of each marking period, we want to celebrate the successes that kids have had and really create that hard stop because, as all of us remember from our middle school years, sometimes you were really on top of it and sometimes you weren't. And sometimes it's good to say, whew, that's over. Let's try again. Have that growth mindset. So I'm really excited this third marking period celebration that will come up at the end of the second week back from spring break. We're going to be doing a kind of a riff on the IB International Night, but we're going to be doing it during the school day. So our students will be able to learn about different cultures, see different performances, try food from all over the world. And this is with their peers. These are the families here at Hillside. So we're super excited to bring that back as well. So we feel like we've really beefed up our PBIS program. And, for me, it's something that I'm personally passionate about. And I'm just excited to be back to normal and be able to provide all of these experiences for kids. So that's the end of my portion. All right. Okay.
And I'm back. All right, so I'm going to go kind of quick, but these are some of our student successes that you see. So that is a picture of our robotics team. Again, they are headed to Florida. So congratulations to our robotics team, our Techo Raptors, I should say. And then also our Northville Middle School POM team. They finished second place in the Michigan POM Association Championships. Again, a photo of our lovely girls. Great job. Academic games, something else I'm very passionate about. But this is our championship team. And again, they're going to be going to Florida soon. So, and thank you to the PTA. I know that you were there previously, but both teams, I think, reached out for funding to help support the team so that they can continue to represent Hillside and Northville with these championships. So they are doing well. And then also the PTA had an art contest. So these are our children. Notice Mr. Jones in the corner smiling. And then we have a picture of all the art from our lovely students. But we also recognize them, I want to say weekly, on our monitors throughout the building. So we let our students share their art for all to see. And then Battle of the Books. So this was not within Hillside, but our students, did choose to participate. And so our bibliophiles and then our lucky librarians. So of course the bibliophiles won first place and then the lucky librarians won third place at our library. So not only are they active again in Hillside, they're active in the Northville community. And then our swim team. This was last Saturday, so they just wrapped up their season and so I want to highlight little Miss Maya Hawkins, who broke a 13-year-old school record in the 100 breaststroke with a time of, that's probably 1 minute and 9 seconds. I'm an English background, not a math background, so forgive me if I'm wrong. But I thought that really stood out to me. But again, getting to know all of our children, these are a great group of kids. They try their best, and it blows my mind all the things that they keep doing. So before we go into Hillside Middle School Unified, I do want to give a shout out to Miss Beth Santer for partnering with Be Nice. And so again, the Raiders Active Kindness Club, that was something that I just started out of my heart to pour into Hillside and make Northville a better community. But Beth brought up the Be Nice initiative. And so we recently had training with that. So that's something that's also going to come. So look for some games that talk about Be Nice. And it's just a strategy, again, how we can support all of our students with special needs, without special needs, and just being better people as a whole. So it's a great thing. Kids are going to have activities during lunch. So a lot more fun, which I love having fun. And so thank you, Ms. Santer, for bringing that to us as well. All right.
Thank you, Mrs. Mutri. So we're going to move into kind of the final portion of our evening and just kind of highlighting the team. Now, as we started to put this together some time ago, this was before I knew that you had already been introduced to Carrie Casebeer and Mary Curran as ABCD winners. But once you see the work that they've done and the product that they've done, I don't think you'll be surprised by why they are ABCD winners. And I know the the unified team and the unified project at the high school was certainly the part of the foundation and inspiration for some of the work that we've done here. But hopefully we'll get to shine a little bit and show you what we've done in Hillside. So, Carrie and Mary.
Thank you. Okay, so our peer program is something that's integrated for both inclusion of all students throughout the school day. We have, this is planned through our social workers and facilitated during lunch, our classes, and we have quarterly celebrations. And our most important thing is that we even have an after-school club, which is kind of fun for our students. Our Peer Links program, this is something that's spread through all 3 grade levels, so 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. We are able to have 6th grade lunch, really good peers that are connected with us, and after lunch, we go into the Raider Corral, where peers will come into the Raider Corral and play different games with our students. We also like to go outside in the back area. We have some special toys that we get to play with, certain bubbles and tic-tac-toe activities that our students really like to play with our peers. We also have some activities that we have peers with our Cook Satellite classrooms, because there's 2 Cook Satellites classrooms that are here as well. So these pictures just kind of show a few of the activities that are going on, and the one on the 2 bottom ones are our cooking with peers. So we pair with Miss Harris's 6th grade class, and they come in, they cook with us on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give a second to highlight Cece, who is one of the peers in my classroom. She comes in every week, multiple times a week, and does social group with my students and the social worker. She helps them work on their social skills, and she's just fantastic. So I'm going to let her speak about that.
Hi, hello, I'm Cece Curran. I am an 8th grader here at Hillside, and this is my first year doing Peer Links. Peer Links has been very helpful to me. I go in every Thursday during 3rd hour, and I really just enjoy helping the kids, and I've made a lot of valuable friends. We go to the Raider Corral, and we play games like Zingo and tic-tac-toe, and I help the kids work on different skills. Like for some, it may be saying hello, others taking turns asking me for a game piece, and it's really just been a meaningful experience to me. I've made a really good friend. His name's Leon. And it's always just really wonderful to go into the class after maybe a tough couple of hours. And he's always really happy to see me with a big smile on his face. And everyone greets me when I come in, either with their device or by waving their hand, sometimes with their voice as well. And I'm so happy to have Peer-to-Peer Links program. It's really just made this whole year better, especially with the pressure of going into high school. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that was great, Cece. So good. And I can tell you, there are some rough mornings in my room, and Cece walks in, and it turns around, and they are all happy to see her, and they're hitting Cece on their AAC devices. They are so excited to see her. So the next slide talks about how we are journeying to become a unified champion school. So Peer Links started at Hillside in 2012, way back when I was a 7th grader here, and I was a Peer Link, and then it kind of dissolved and it restarted with Carrie K. Spears' group coming in 2018, which is fantastic. The Peer Links After School Club started in 2015 at the high school, and the class started in 2017 with unified basketball starting at the high school in 2018. I was glad to be a part of all of that. That was one of my favorite moments in high school. It made me want to be a teacher. And then Northville High School became a unified champion banner school in 2022. And now Hillside's starting the journey. And we are working our way to get all 3 pillars this year. Oh, all right, still me. Okay, so the 3 pillars of a unified champion school include inclusive youth leadership. So you'll get the chance to hear from our youth leaders. We have a committee of 5 students who help plan our activities. They're the brain and mastermind behind our Inclusion Week involvement. Unified sports, which is peer-supported sports. We played basketball this past year, and whole school engagement, which included Inclusion Week. All right.
Now it's time to meet our Youth Activation Committee, which consists of 5 eighth graders who have had previous Peer Links experience, and they applied to be on a committee, and they wrote very passionate entries, and they were selected, and they all have a passion for inclusion in their own way. So I'm going to invite our Youth Activation Committee to come on up.
Hi, my name is Melissa. I'm in 8th grade. I've been doing Peer Links for 3 years and was super excited to join the Youth Action Committee. We are a group of student leaders who inspire our other peer members to get involved in many ways as possible. We meet monthly after school with our unified advisors. So on Mondays, once a month, normally at the beginning of the month, we meet up and make plans to become more unified. We plan our monthly Peer Links after-school activities. This is a club where all students are welcome and accepted. We do activities after school and to make more kids feel welcome and accepted. We create advertisements and do announcements for Peer Links activities. So in the mornings, we would go down to the office and on the announcements talk about our activities that we would do. We helped plan Inclusion Week and Hillside-specific portions of Inclusion Week. We led our bake sale during Inclusion Week and served as leaders in getting students excited for a silent disco. So we had a silent disco not too long ago, and it was so much fun. And 2 out of our 5 Youth Action Committee leaders also participated as peer supporters in our unified basketball season. So we had unified basketball, and I wasn't personally part of it, but I heard it was super fun. All 5 of our leaders participate in Peer Links throughout the school day and become close friends with their students. So like I said, I've been doing Peer Links for 3 years and started in 6th grade just to feel more connected, especially during COVID when I didn't feel like I had many connections. And joining Peer Links was a way of meeting new students and helpful for me to become more open, I guess, to new things.
Hi, I'm Joshua Banchero. I've been doing Peer Links for 1 year, and I'm in 8th grade. What we have learned as a group in the Youth Activation Committee is we've learned how leadership has really helped us, like throughout planning and the after-school club. And one example of that would probably be with the silent disco and Inclusion Week in general that we planned. That took leadership for us to plan it during our meetings once a month. We also learned that even though we are young, we can all make a difference in our school and even outside of it. We learned that Hillside is an inclusive place where all students are welcome to be themselves, and it doesn't matter their ability level and who they are, they can all participate.
Hi, my name is Gabriella Calderon. I'm an 8th grader here at Hillside, and I've been a Peer Link for 3 years. So one main thing is about this club, Peer Links in general, is that you make a lot of friends, and I've learned that through experience because, like I said, I've been doing this for about 3 years, and I've been doing the lunchtime, which means I would go to lunch, and during there I would be with my peer and a couple of other 8th graders who were also interested in helping out this peer, and we would just eat lunch, have fun, and go to recess. This year, every Friday, I meet with Luke, who's back there, who I think was back there, but I meet with Luke and my friends Michelle and Natalie, and I truly feel that like everyone should have a person to hang out with and just have fun with during lunch and recess. Just be able to like let everything go, let the stress of the day away, and just like hang out and have fun. And Luke has been that for us and me and my friends, and I feel like we have been that for him, and we really hope that we've helped him, and in a way he's helped us We've created friendships with him that we will obviously never forget. And I feel like it's really made a difference for us and like that leads to the fact that inclusion is a passion for our whole group. We just really like making a difference and making a difference in our school and are very excited to get involved next year because we like helping out and we do want to make a difference and we want to continue making a difference for years to come. We did learn that it's a little hard to start a program from the ground up because there's things that work and there's obviously things that don't. I mean, our silent disco turned out better than we expected, but our after school clubs, around the beginning, we didn't get that many people and now like we're trying to get more people. And I mean, that's just how it works. You're starting something new, you make mistakes and you learn and you fix them. But the most important thing I think we've learned is that people can learn what inclusion really means and that the students, at least here at Hillside, they care. Like they truly do. In the silent disco, a lot of people didn't come. Some people didn't come, but the ones that did, which was in like over 100 that did come, or over 200 or something, I don't really remember, but they understood what it was about and they cared, they came, they stayed after school, they made that commitment, and I think we all just had a lot of fun that night.
I think you might have a friend behind you.
Hi, Luke. Want to say something? Want to talk about Peer Links?
I like basketball the best.
What do you like about basketball? Talking about what do you like about it?
I like dribbles and shooting it.
That's cool. Did you like hang out with your team and things like that?
I like the games.
That's good.
All right, so when Mary and I started this venture in September, we did not realize that we were going to be starting a unified basketball team, but we got a schedule handed to us, and so we said, let's do this. We had to participate with 4 other schools, three other schools, I'm sorry. We played against Frost from Livonia twice, and then we played against Brighton and Heartland, which was very awesome for us.
So about unified basketball, it's the first for everyone in the state at the middle school level. So we are really starting this from the ground up, and all of the districts were as well. So we're really excited to watch it grow as it continues to build. We had 12 athletes from the cross-categorical and ASD classroom and 12 peer athletes from 6th through 8th grade. Our practices were held during the school day because after school got a little too confusing and everyone had things to do. So we did it during lunch recess or during seminar time. We did 4 quarters with 2 to 4 minute rotations in those quarters, carried it all the rosters and worked her magic. And the student leaders help support students getting the ball down the court. They help set up the shots, and they really encourage our students to participate. And we loved having RJ be our ref for our home game, and it was awesome to see everyone come out. It was just the most amazing energy. And we have a couple of our basketball players here. We have Cece, Ethan, and Josh. Leona cannot join us. Do you guys want to come on up and share what you learned from Unified and what you took away? Luke, did you want to come up as well? I know you already talked a bit about basketball, but we'd love to hear more. Yeah.
While playing basketball, in the beginning, I'll be honest, we weren't that good. We were learning how to. We lost most our games. We were really figuring out what it meant to be a unified basketball team, like how to really include everyone and whatnot. However, we got better slowly throughout the season. We tied our second or third game, which was improvement from the first game loss. But at the end, everyone was happy, everyone was excited, And that was like the main point of it, obviously, was for the kids to, not just the kids, but the peers to have fun there and grow connections. Luke, did you have fun playing basketball?
Yeah, I have fun at basketball game.
And then at our last game, we got a win, so that was nice.
And joining Unified Basketball is probably one of the greatest decisions I've ever made because, first off, like I just made a lot of friends from it, and it was a great time. And even if you're having like a rough day and you come to one of these games, and it can just straight away put a smile on your face because to see all the joy that all the kids are having, it's a great experience.
Hello again. So it was very nice. I worked with Leon, and during third and second hour, we would go down and like we would do this like foot drill, and we would lead them around and like go through like hopscotch, and then we would like work on shooting. And like Josh mentioned, we weren't very good at the beginning, but you could see progress. And the games were hectic, but it was really fun, and I really enjoyed it. It was like, you know, the calm in the storm kind of thing. And yeah, but yeah, it wasn't just about winning or about losing, but about fun. And even the people from the other team, like they would get a rebound, and like if one kid missed, we would do it again, and everyone would just be cheering them on. And like as soon as someone scored a goal, the whole stands would like stand up and cheer for them. So that was very nice. Do you want to say something, Luke?
What?
Do you want to say something?
Very good.
Thank you guys. Great job. I think what Cece said is really what hit Mary and I while we were doing this, is watching the other team help our kids and our kids helping the other kids' teams and just going back and forth. It was just like one of those moments where you were smiling, happy, and laughing and crying all at the same time because it was so fantastic. And the culmination of it is that we had a little banquet at the end, which is that picture on the left of all of our students and peers. We had a little pizza celebration. So that was very cool. All right, so moving on, our whole school engagement had to do with our Inclusion Week, which was started by the high school last year that went all district-wide this year. For our school, we worked on putting together the Spirit Week where all students could wear different outfits throughout the week. We had the Puller Plunge, 5 of our staff members, Mr. Spots, Mr. Bartell, Mr. Nick, Mr. Jones, and Miss Curran, jumped into that cold water and raised $1,500 for Special Olympics. Our bake sale was put on together, as well as the silent disco from our Youth Action Committee. And at the first day, we only sold 1 ticket. We were a little bit nervous about it, but we ended up selling 75 tickets. And then Friday, because all after-school activities were closed because of a possible snowstorm that was coming, that did come, we ended up selling 25 tickets at the door. So brought us over 100, and we raised $750 to help with our committee.
And I just wanted to thank the PTSA at Hillside for helping to support our silent disco, and RJ for holding off on the snow call so that we could do it on the day that we planned and not have a schedule change.
He called the snow generator and said it can't come until 5, and it didn't.
It was perfect timing. It worked out.
I'm going to pop back up for a quick second for the fun stuff. So the first video that Mr. Piazza will play is the Hillside team minus me. I had to kind of sneak in at the end. I had an issue here at the school that needed handling before I could make it over there.
But I think you're the top fundraiser for admin. All right. I knew you wouldn't say that on your own.
No, I would not. So thank you to everybody who donated, whether to me or to anybody else. So we want to play the first one.
Just think what Mr. Weber could raise.
With his reach and his social media.
Or Mr. Wilson.
3, 2, 1.
Justin Press, Reed, and Kurt to support Special Olympics. If they have a supercar, they'd be an art teacher. They've got their floaties. 3, 2, 1.
Now, in addition to showing up about 5 minutes after this, maybe the other reason I didn't play mine was I can't guarantee the words that came out of my mouth were school appropriate when I hit that water. So I vetted this one for cleanliness. So the second video I'm going to preface for a moment. My daughter is a student in Miss K. Spears' class, and I brought her here for that purpose. I'm proud of what we do here. I'm amazed daily by the experiences that all of our students have, but for our cross-categorical students especially. So what started out here was me just taking a picture of my daughter dancing to send to my wife to say, look at how cute our kid is. And this is the second video that I took because the first one was Ava dancing by herself, and then the second one was her kind of just turning and joining a group of 6th grade girls who were just dancing. And I thought that kind of highlighted the whole point of the inclusion dance. She does not get those moves from me, by the way. So that is that's all her mother there.
So Principal Jones, could you explain how those your things work? It's
Yeah.
fascinating to me.
Yeah, so the silent disco, I'll tell you, for a school administrator or a teacher, this is the best thing to chaperone because it's real quiet. So the company, they have headphones for every kid. You can see that in this picture, a couple of those students have a green light, and then there was, I think, a red and a blue. So as a participant, you could look around and kind of see who was listening to the same channel that you were listening to. And then you could kind of dance or sing accordingly based on one of those 3 channels. They could change them. But it also allowed us for, our students with sensory needs to be able to kind of control that volume. And it wasn't the loud thumping music that you might think of fondly or not from your middle school dances. So we had all of the dancing, all of the fun, and it was very quiet for all the adults and the rest of us with sensory issues. So yeah, it was a very exciting experience. I think all of our kids, whether it was the conga line or just dancing, it really blurred the line between this kid and that kid and this kid and that kid, and it was just a group of Hillside kids at a dance having fun. So I think that was the point. Yeah, by all means, sure.
My students wear headphones a lot throughout the school, and they were able to wear the same headphones as everyone else. Granted, they were off, but no one else knew, and it was really cool. And their parents were so excited to just see that they looked like everyone else, and they had the best time with no music playing. They loved the silent part, which was awesome.
And I'll say too, for one of our students, Teddy, who loves to do karaoke. To see one of Mary's students, so to see Teddy on stage singing karaoke and to see, kind of a crowd of students cheering for him at the time, that's not something that really many of our students ever get to experience, let alone, a student in our ASD program. So it really did allow us to kind of highlight some of those strengths that not all of our students see, either individually or, maybe challenging their perceptions about what it means to be a student in Carrie Mary's classroom. So I'm going to turn over for just a minute. I talked a little bit about my parent experience, but I know I've got Luke's dad, Mr. Rotz. If you guys want to come up and talk a little bit about what it has meant to you. Mr. and Mrs. Rotz, sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Hi, board. Thanks for having us today. I'm Tim Rotz, my wife, Mary Beth. Good to see some familiar faces on the board. I'm not sure what part of Peer Links you want us to talk about. It's the overall program or the basketball, but I would like to share one experience I had. Before Carrie started the program this year, I actually went to a high school unified basketball game at Novi High School. And it's Northville and Novi. And I had never been into Novi High School before, and I was completely lost trying to find the gymnasium. But Luke and I went there, and as we approached the gymnasium, I heard this loud roar from the crowd, right? Like, oh, okay, it's like after 7. And I thought the Unified game is supposed to start at 7, right? I'm wearing my Unified shirt, by the way, because I only get 2 or 3 more months of this, right? Well, he's still in 8th grade. And come to find out, the game had already started, the Unified game, right? I was like, wow, all of these people are cheering, right? I mean, it wasn't just like, hey, yeah, good, cool, right? Clap a couple times. They were like seriously like yelling and cheering and really trying to encourage the team. And just like the student said earlier, it's both sides for both teams. So it's really cool. It's a wonderful environment. I've told a lot of my colleagues at work about that, right? Like, you won't believe it, right? It's not about like, winning or losing. It's about encouraging those kids, and they take the time to help them, make a shot. Some kids can shoot it up towards the net. Some kids use a hula hoop right below the net to make their baskets. So it's a great program. I really enjoy watching Luke play and how all of the kids from both teams interact. So I'm really impressed with the basketball of Pure Links.
I just want to say it really warms my heart to see them all working together. I've worked with a lot of these students that play with the kids, and it just warms my heart to see them encouraging and playing together, and that they can have a chance to support our district and our school systems when they're out playing. So I know I speak for other parents. This is just a wonderful program, and we want to thank Ms. Case-Spear and Mary and Nick and all of the people, Miss Bartel, she helped out. So thank you so much. This really, really means a lot to us.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. And I would echo the same thing, putting my my parent hat on for a moment. When you have a child with a disability and you get that diagnosis, I think you spend a lot of time thinking about the things that you've lost and the things that you won't have. So, kind of similar to Mr. Rotz's experience of, hearing that crowd and going to a gym and seeing a crowd of people in a gym. When Ava was a baby, I never thought she would play basketball. That just wasn't a consideration. In my head, I was buying, a new house and a wheelchair accessible van and, all of these things. Playing basketball in front of a crowded gym wasn't even part of the equation. And being part of a dance where, she gets to be included and students know her name, and it's all part of the work that our students have done, our Youth Activation Committee. I want to highlight that part because, as they said, starting something from nothing is really difficult, especially for kids. And I'll say, as principal, I have students come to me all the time and ask to, have a club for this interest or for that interest. And you lay out the steps. Everybody wants to get something going, but actually getting it going is really hard. It's hard for adults. It's really hard for kids. To generate that interest and maintain that passion over month after month after month after month after month. So, the fact that it happened, the fact that Mary Curran, a first-year teacher in an ASD classroom, somehow, I don't know how she has a 47-hour day, but I'd like to figure that out, was able to do that. And I also don't want to gloss over the fact that Mary Curran, who was a 7th grader at Hillside, and participated in that Pure Links program. That's why we have Ms. Curran as a teacher. That experience that she had in Northville schools, that experience that she had at Hillside, brought her here. So for all of our kids who are back there, whether you want to be a teacher or not, those experiences are impactful. So for every kid that was at that silent disco, every kid who either participated in or went to one of those basketball games, that could be the next Ms. Curran. So want to highlight that part. So thinking of this, maybe the clicker. Oh God, thank you. So thinking about plans, kind of going into next year. Mary, if you want to take that piece, and I'll do long term.
All right, sounds good. So we have our first year almost under our belt. We're headed into that fourth quarter. So next year we are thinking that we want to continue with this and build upon it and help the program grow. So we're going to focus on basketball. We're going to hopefully bring in other organizations, have the dance team perform, pom team, cheer team. We want to focus on improving all of our confidence, both on and off the court. We are excited to have a Peer Links gym class next year, which will allow us to practice these skills. And we're just very excited for more districts to participate next year. This year, we had much more games planned, and a lot of other districts had to bow out. You know, it's our first year. We weren't able to get it going, and we're hoping that next year, more districts will be able to participate. We'll hopefully have a couple more home games, and we'll be able to reach even wider in the state.
All right, so we just want to continue with our peer links, having more and more students become a part, knowing that inclusion, it means for all, and knowing that you don't have to be a part of peer links to join us in our recess club or just stop by our classrooms or to be friends with each other within our school. So just making Hillside a more inclusive place.
Yeah, that is the overall goal, to kind of continue to blur those lines between all of our students. And long-term, what that looks like, as we said, we've got a Peer Links course that we offered to students this year as kind of a voluntary opportunity for them to kind of continue that in a classroom setting. Like to look to expand that into art offerings and tech offerings, and just kind of continue to grow that academic piece, adding more of the unified sports. We have already begun planning. Thank you to Mr. Zoff and Mr. Banchero for not refusing to take my phone calls every time I call to ask about an indefinite playground. And again, Mary Curran, who as a teacher said, hey, Bill, it would be great if my kids could have a swing out here. Can we just maybe somehow get like a swing set? I thought we could do better than a swing set. So we've got our plan long-term for an adaptive playground out back. And not just for our students in Mary's class or in Carrie's class or our Cook students, but for all of our students to play and to enjoy recess side by side.
I hate to interrupt, but I would like to point out the fact that I asked for a swing set, and I have an amazing principal who said, let's look at a whole playground and let's put it right outside your classroom. So when we're talking about amazing leadership, we are so lucky to have these three helping and saying yes to all of our ideas. Yeah.
So as I said, kind of expanding the academic piece, the play piece, and just growing it step by step. So that's how you find us. If you haven't seen some of the things on Twitter and you need some feel-good moments, you can find us there. Find us on all the social medias out there. So I want to say thank you to our teachers, to our kids, for my team here. This is not one-person effort. This is teamwork. Thank you. Wow.
I am sure we have comments and questions. Let's go around.
So I'd like to bring a historical comment up, because this, for me, this is so special to see how this has grown. I remember probably about 10 years ago, I don't know if it's 10, 9, or if it's 11 years ago, but I remember we had a petition, a parent wanted us to put an ASD classroom at Thornton Creek. And as a board, we're like, how is this going to work? And, we did that. And as those kids kind of matured, the request then came back is, could we move that to the middle school, create a program for the middle school? And again, the board, we kind of hemmed and hawed and said, yeah, let's go do it right. And to see that little thing that I started out as peer pals at Thornton Creek and just having kids go read to students and that, and see the good that it created on both sides, right? It wasn't just helping these students, but it was the pride, the caring, the love, and to seeing everybody as an individual and everybody has value in the other students. And so to go from a single classroom, when I don't remember, we probably maybe had 6 students. I don't remember what it was, but to see it grow to this, and again, it builds it builds character, it builds good on both sides. And, my daughter participated in this and watched it, and, I could kind of just see the positive impact that it had on her. And to now see it with these kids and see this grow today to such a bigger program. And again, we're all here together. We all see good in all. And God, I'm just so proud of you for being able to take that small thing that I'll tell you, we were nervous about. We didn't really know what was going to happen. And you guys just took it and we had parents who pushed it, right? And it just kept growing and growing to see where it is today. So thank you for the parents who pushed, I won't name names, but years ago who get it started, and for board members who, Sarah was here, but some of the board members who are past, who helped support that program to see where it is today. I am just so proud of Mary, to see where you came from, as being you were one of them that started out at the beginning and then helped create this event. I wanted to bring that history out about something that started so small and a trial program and what was going to happen, and to see how it's built into this. I can't tell you the pride that I feel in my heart from seeing how you guys have built this. So thank you. As one of those who started from the beginning, thank you. I know Sarah will probably say the same thing she remembers, but wow, I'm just, the pride I have, not in our board, but the pride I have in you guys for stepping up and building it is just unbelievable. So thank you.
I just say that room at Torrance Creek, I don't know if you guys know this, but when I was in high school, you guys said yes to letting me be a teacher for that in the K2 ASD room, which they never had, that was like unheard of. And those are my students now. So I actually taught them when I was in high school, and I have them when I'm with them when they're 5 and 6. Now they're my actual students. It's crazy to just be a part of how big this program has grown. Thank you guys for taking a chance and allowing my classroom to be here. It's really awesome.
We didn't take a chance, Mary. We just saw where the train was going and didn't stand in its way. So, yeah. While I'm speaking, I guess I'll just say my other couple quick points. I love 6th grade camp. And as a Meads parent, I'm jealous. I think, it's a great idea. Hi, Lisa. To the kiddos in the back that CC in your table over there. Hi, guys. If you guys, I just want to comment about how the parents and spoke for other families. When you drop this kindness into the pond, it's like the ripple of the people that you're touching is far beyond just Luke, right? It's Luke's family and the other families. I'm incredibly impressed by you all. And if there's a way that we as a board, I individually can help you, if you want to intern, if you want help getting into college, you need someone to write you a letter, my law firm is on Main Street, and you can come find me and just tell me, remind me, because I will do anything to help you all. I think what you have done here is incredibly, incredibly special. I've never said that at any other board meeting at any other time. I think you're really incredible leaders. I want to just say to the administration here, you've focused on PBIS and the positive, and obviously a lot of PBIS is about supporting the good. There is also correcting when the behavior isn't there. That's a huge and hard part of your job that you didn't focus on here tonight, and I understand why. But I want you to hear from me very directly that I support you, and I think this board supports you when you need to do the other side too. We understand, and I think it's very visible that you want kids to succeed. You're here for kids to succeed. So if there are times where you have to draw a boundary because something isn't right, we see that your heart is behind getting to a success. So please just hear me say that when you do have to draw those boundaries, we have your back. And we hope that, that all the kids can succeed, and we know that you're there for them to do that. That's very important for me to just have said. So anyway, I just think you're great, but I wanted to make those couple of quick points.
I would probably want to make a small comment about how much more a school is than the next test in the classroom. You've brought me clearly to knowing that on a personal level, how you grow a heart and soul in a building. And every single comment, every student voice, every administrative voice that spoke today was an exemplary example of the effort that you put into the heart and soul of this school. I'm struck. I'm almost unable to put it properly into words, what it takes. There's a lot of healing and growing here. I heard in the ABC Awards frequently students talking about what it felt like to come back after the interruption to their education. And it was kind of a zeroing out and starting over again and being knitted back together. And this is just the continuity over the last few years of the energies and the creativeness that you put into bringing our students back. It redefines, I'll take it a step out further than just the walls of the school. It redefines the community. I would even say it redefines the universe. That's what you're doing because you're changed people. And you will carry that message forward in the way you interact forever with the people around you in your jobs and in your universities and in your neighborhoods. And it's a completely rewriting on the terms of human caring, really, that the work that you're doing in the school with inclusion. So I would just say finally, just as a comment, I know that there were parent-teacher conferences last week. How do I know that? I'm an elementary school family member. I know that because the city was full of jubilant middle schoolers. And they were just bubbling over with happiness of being out and having lunch together and throwing snowballs down Main Street. And it was just, they are wonderful human beings that you're helping grow and flourish here. And I just, I give you a tribute for the work. It's wonderful.
Every half day out of Hillside is a celebration in the city. I'm like, it's exciting out there. What's going on?
Karen or Melissa?
I had some questions. What really stuck out to me was about how some of the students had spoken that they had done this for 3 years. I wanted to know how that was communicated to them so quickly that they did it as sixth graders. And I'm wondering also, are they planning to continue it once they get to high school? I see nods. Okay, wonderful. And I'm wondering about how you know, what you would say to an incoming fifth grader. Is this something that's shared when the fifth grade students come to the middle school? Do they learn about Pure Links and the unified teams?
Well, during COVID, they had to learn how to peer links through a computer screen. So we would have lunch with peers from our computer screens, which were not very easy. So we are very glad to be able to do all this face-to-face stuff for sure.
Wow.
For sure, yeah. I mean, it was difficult on Zoom because for some students, it's harder to get their attention, especially on a computer screen for a while. So the activities, some of them were a little hard to do all the way, but it still was a place for you to connect and you could just still be there, be their friend, and just that lunch friend.
In terms of pitching the fifth graders, we plan to prepare a presentation to share with the fifth graders in the 4 elementary schools. And I also know that the Thornton Creek ASD program for April is Autism Awareness Month. They are raising money for the unified graders because they are coming here and they're going to participate. So we're very excited about that. And then the question is, are you guys going to participate in unified stuff when you get to the high school?
I would really like to, but I don't know. I definitely will. Yeah, I want to participate like that.
They do.
Wow.
So the issue with the high schools that is so popular that it's hard to get in as a freshman.
Wow.
They have after-school clubs. Yes, that you should start because that's how you build up into this community.
Yeah, at the activities night, they had a stand, so me and the other leader, she left, Melissa, we signed up already and we're on the email list and we just can't wait to do it next year.
Well, wonderful. I appreciate that you want to continue, and I also appreciate you helping to mentor those elementary students as they come up. So thank you very much. I also wanted to comment on something Ms. Provo said way back when, about the international, doing something international during the school day. I really love that idea. I've been way back when we had them here in the evening, and I've been to Ridgewoods, and those are wonderful programs, but I love the idea of students participating and seeing that, because as a parent, I mean, we're going to walk around and ooh and ah at everything, right? It's very different when you have that peer experience. So I really like that idea of getting that opportunity to share your background and your culture with your peers during the school day. I really like that.
That I can't take credit for that. That was Nurit Foster and some of our other PBIS members who thought of that. But we really thought that, again, with this theme of, bringing everybody back in and rebuilding, we have this tremendous advantage in Northville of having all of these different cultures. And I think that, it's just a wonderful experience to have everybody here. Our kids are busy at night a lot of the times. And so this really opens it up for every student. So.
Wonderful.
I'd like to throw a shout out to our food service, by the way. We spent a lot of time in one of those planning meetings talking about, the real draw for International Night or International Day, which is, the food and the snacks and whatever. And we went round and round about how to have, families provide or food trucks or, costs and the whole thing. And it took us a long time. We said, why don't we talk to food service? I bet they could come up with little snack-sized bites, so that way a kid could have a little piece of every one of the cultures, and it wouldn't cost us, $12,000 to do it. So, shout out to food service for accommodating that and saying, yeah, look, we can give you 5, 6, 7 different options. You tell us what you want, and we'll get you 3,000 samplers. Thank you.
Wow.
They also provide for our Spirit Point competition. They provide whatever the kids want. So they wanted donuts and juice so far. And so they, produce 400 donuts on the stage and all the juice. And it's just, they are so wonderful to work with. Every time we need something, they're there for us. So.
Thank you.
Melissa?
Oh, geez, you put me on the spot.
You don't have to. You don't.
Well, I would just say that part of my joy in coming to the basketball game, I showed up a little late to the first one. Big mistake. It was standing room only. I stood at the door and just had to hang out like a loser in the door, no space on the bleachers. But I learned my lesson and I got here early for the home game, and it was fantastic. And it was really fun for me, partly because I have come here from Moraine, and so many of the kids on the team are from Moraine, and I know them, and it was just so much fun. And I would also like to point out that Mary Beth Rotz is one of our fantastic parapros at Moraine. So she is building the next group of peer pals to come up already for to take over those 8th graders, hopefully. So this was great. Exactly. I know. I've played basketball with him before. So yeah, the basketball is a big draw at Moraine during recess. So
Thank you so much for lifting up that culture point about Moraine and how that spills over into this building. Also on my notepad was I wrote leading other districts in terms of the trying to expand out this program out and involve other schools. So for Moraine, we can build into Hillside and into NHS, and we can then take that and say, come do this with us, Ann Arbor and Birmingham and Novi, and right? I mean, that's incredible, really special. It's really special.
To that end, I had a plant in the the Hillside home game. We have a family friend whose son is on the autism spectrum, and they came to watch. I think their first takeaway was, my God, I wish we had this in our district. And then the second takeaway was, we're going to try to work on getting this in our district. So that's what gives me pride, I guess, in Northville schools and in Hillside, that we are leading and being that model for everybody else.
Well, you are really, I think the title of the presentation was Rebuilding the Hillside Community, right? You are really building something really special here. I hope we can all get a copy of that presentation because it was jam-packed with awesomeness.
Actually in board books, you already have.
Yeah. So I think it sort of starts with go all the way back to sixth grade camp, right? I mean, 250 or so students, I think I heard. I mean, that's a pretty good percentage of the kids. I mean, that's a great way to start off middle school, where it's that awkward sort of transition point, right? And you have 250 kids or so at sixth grade camp, some other number of Camp Hillsiders, right? I mean, these are some pretty good ways to sort of start your middle school experience. A lot of congratulations go out to I won't get all of them, but the Techno Raptors, right? Our POM team, Bibliophiles. We had a record-breaking swim, Maya Hawkins, cheer boxes and necessity bags. I mean, just a ton of great stuff before we got to the unified school and the Peer Links program, which I think we could all spend another hour or two talking about that and what wonderful programs there. I mean, when we go, I remember the last time we went to Cook School, and when we were going through the presentation there, one of the points that resonated with me was how important integration was into the larger community, right? There were things like, I won't get it exactly right, but signs, right, that were built for Cook students and ASD students and cross-categorical students. And I think inclusion and that integration is so important. And the folks here have proved that how important that is to both sides, right? The program here that you have in place, that you started, was it back in 2018? I mean, we cannot let this dissolve again, for one thing. Can we please take this to the next level? You obviously have our support. And we're behind you 100% in this. Hats off to the Youth Action or Youth Activation Committee. I don't know what the YAC and the students, right? YAC, Cece, Melissa, Gabriella, Josh, I forget the young man's name with on the basketball team, Ethan. Thank you for inspiring us all. I mean, what a wonderful thing to hear. You sound like high schoolers. You sound like some of the best high schoolers that we've heard talk on these topics. Hats off to you. Luke's dad, you sort of really brought it home, I think, for me at least, with that sentiment that you expressed. I forget your name, my apologies, but Luke's dad, in my mind, both sides for both teams, right? I mean, that could be a mantra for so many of the concepts that we're that you're trying to build into this community. I don't know, next year's plans, we're totally behind what you have and what you're trying to grow here and the community that you're obviously building. I thought it was special before I came into this board presentation, but I'm honestly blown away. I don't know, thank you.
Thank you. Great job.
Yeah, great job. That's off to you.
And we do have a tradition of a picture, but before we get into that piece of it, and what I'm going to do is ask all the parents and all the kids, staff. Mutri, why are you looking at me like that? I'm serious. We're going to do a picture. You'll just go ahead and stand behind the board, and we'll take that. But I want to say something. So as a person who, Nate, 30 years ago, started my career in a middle school and looking across at the team we have here, and I know that middle school is also the lives of some of the folks I'm privileged to serve beside. It's a magical portal. It really is. You know, the kids come in as sixth graders, and I'll never forget my first sixth grade. I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about the kids I observed. My first sixth grade dance where the boys would literally run into the bathroom and hide from the girls. And then this metamorphosis that occurs in eighth grade by the time they come out that side of it. and it is a portal, and it's magic. It truly is. I think oftentimes in public education, we forget about the middle school. We talk a lot about the elementaries or the high school and so on. But when you think of, and I think Cece said it earlier in that piece, this notion that when you were speaking, what struck me is that this is the age of exploration. This is the age of trying. This is the age of failing. This is the age of beginning anywhere. In the impression that can be made, Mary, who we'd met once before we were on the stage, both of our first days basically in the district. And for those of you who remember it, and we all do, by the way, you killed it. The way you began and finished that circle of students was you are wise well beyond your years on this planet. So thank you. And to come from here in the way that you have, I mean, I'm going to get emotional. Luke's dad, come on, man. Like I was crying. I don't need that tonight. It was beautiful. And Bill, you know, when you spoke about your daughter, the thing about the unified piece that brings me to my knees is the fact that seeing parents, and thanks for naming it, being honest, parents who at one point, you know, never thought they would see their kid compete, to be celebrated in that way by people on a court or a bocce ball court or whatever it is, because bocce ball is one of the sports, so we might be looking for bocce ball coaches, is stunning. And you were both as dads vulnerable and stepped up and said, this was amazing. And I thank you for that, for naming what unfortunately is a very real feeling when we first see adversity. You know, we can't see the other side. Student agency, for the students, we did a podcast yesterday with our head of early childhood, and I asked her what drew her into into that preschool world, and she said observing 3-year-old students interact with adults and seeing those adults interact with those students as equals in play. In this notion that agency or voice and choice, whether you're a student or an adult, is critical in our own lives, how we lead those lives and how we find true joy. And to hear that student agency, taking young ladies up for the MASSIP Women's Conference, you're half the population. You get paid less than men right now. My hope is before I'm gone from this world, we change that, and ladies need you to lead that and do it. And I'll be right there beside you to help you in any way we can as advocates and allies for you. So thank you. For everybody here tonight. Thank you to the team that I'm privileged to serve beside for being here, supporting these kids in ways that a lot of people can't see. It means a ton to me. Thank you to a Board of Education, Ms. Prescott, for also saying what needed to be said, which is this entire evening was about positive juice, right? About the goodness that we're trying to build here. However, there are challenges in our world as well. There are challenges here in the past couple of weeks that Principal Jones and his team have taken head on, and they're uncomfortable and they're difficult. However, this is the time and the place for kids to learn that it's not okay to do certain things before life gets more complicated in that way. So I will echo what Ms. Prescott said. We are fully behind every effort. We know what you all put into it. We know a heck of a lot more after tonight. And thank you so much for that. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything on the notes. I was just taking all sorts of notes here. I just think I'll end with begin anywhere. I think that the kids modeled that for us. To say that this was dormant and then brought back, begin anywhere. So with that said, my middle school brothers and sisters, come on up. Let's go. Parents as well. Well.
Okay, I was at remember how I told you I was at an arbitration and I was sitting on the edge?
You should have had this.
All right, just go ahead and stand behind the Board of Education. They'll be sitting.
No, I'm just saying. There's only one person in the room with me. And we were like, let's never.
Superintendent.
She's like, I've done that. She was a court reporter. Goes, yes.
Don't make me come and grab you. Hey. Come on now.
You know him? This is superintendent.
Steve needs to be in the
He
picture.
refuses.
Okay, on three, we do Hillside.
Bob, where are you going?
Hillside.
Why are you hiding out?
We're not ready yet.
Give you a shout out.
Steve, you should be in the picture.
All right.
All right. Okay. And
This
a
is the hard
little.
part.
It's a good thing these are rolly, huh?
All right, big smiles up there.
You should be in the picture though. Yes, y'all.
1, 2, 6, Raiders.
Raiders!
Thank you.
Nice, amazing.
All right.
Thank you. We'll see you in NHS.
It's a chair.
All right.
I will, thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. All right, that was awesome.
Oh, that was a whole big dollop of goodness. That was great. How was the art show?
Next.
I can't wait.
Because I knew,
I love it.
I knew it was going to be
Was your
hard.
girl happy?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. So, yes, thank you for understanding that I was going to be a parent for a while. It's nice. Chairs are so rolly.
Okay, thank you again to the Hillside team. We know it takes a lot of work to prepare for these presentations, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
That brings us to number 10 on our agenda, added agenda items. Dr. Weber, Ms. Irving, anyone else? Do we have any?
No, sir.
Excellent. That takes us to,
There might be a public comment.
okay, we'll get to that 1 second. Yep. So that brings us to number 11 here, public comment, right on cue.
I just have a quick question. I saw in the agenda that it was approved, the field trip for high schooler in Meadsmill, but we also have kids from Hillside and some from elementary that are going to the academic games competition. I don't know what it's only mentioned Meadsmill, but there are 26 kids, 6 from high school, 10 from elementary, and 10 from middle. Some are Hillside and some are Meads.
Yeah. So individual schools will put together their own, and so it may have come last week or it may come in a future
Okay.
week. So don't,
Okay, but it's.
nothing to worry about.
Okay. I just
Yeah,
wanna- I
they
just
were
saw-
pre-approved.
We were worried like it just
Nope.
chose Smithmill but
No, no.
okay.
Each school puts in their own. And so a
Okay.
lot of times you'll see the same thing come from Hillside, same thing from Meads. So.
And the team is combined.
Every board
from-
meeting we approve, so it may come in 2 weeks, so nothing to worry about.
We already did prior academic games before today.
Okay.
So like, I know we did the elementary. But they'll be excused and they're definitely supported and definitely an important part. of Hillside
Thank you.
kids.
I appreciate it.
Good observation. We appreciate the comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the public? Now's your chance. Going once, going twice, sold. That brings us to number 12. Questions, comments from board members. Anyone?
I just have one, and I just want to put an idea out there. Prior to COVID, when we would do the school meetings, by the way, this was a fantastic meeting, right? But we also include a piece, we called them like data digs, right? And they were, each individual school would talk about, their school data, but what's something that was important to them. For example, when we were at Silver Springs 6 or 8 weeks ago, they, focused on that portion of students who came in. And so each school would focus on their own thing. I'm not saying we do this, but I think there's a real value in having the board have each school talk about their particular issues and their particular data. And the reason I bring it up is we do have a rather young board, young board, right? And we might not get to seeing all the data till the end of the year, and then you get this enormous amount of data. It's really valuable over the course of the year that in each school, they talk about the issues that are, important to them, whatever that may be, right? And so I just want to throw an idea out there, and we can discuss it, when it's appropriate at a committee of the whole, that we maybe consider morphing these, when we do the school meetings, at least putting a portion of the presentation going back to the data digs. And so again, just a placeholder idea. and we can talk about it maybe at a committee meeting.
Could you just clarify a little bit? Is it different types, different data at different schools relative to what, it's not like the same, in the past, was it the same set of data at each school?
It was a mixture, right? There were some things that you always kind of saw, but then a lot of times a school would focus on their particular unique issue, right? I remember when we were at Ridgewood one time, we did a big ELL presentation. And, you know, Silver Springs talked about their particular issue. So it may not be the same at each school. We tried as a board not to direct it too closely, but to have them come in and do a portion of it, you know, on their data, right? You know, we took a test and got this blank data. Maybe there was something out of there that was important and they wanted to share that, you know, they need to get into. The value that I saw for the board is we started understanding what some of the issues were. And so therefore we could kind of go, okay, that's something we need to start supporting that. What can we do about that? And if the board isn't aware of it, it's kind of tough for us to know. So again, I'm just throwing that out there as an idea. And like I say, maybe at committee of the whole, we can talk about it or whenever.
So it would be slides. It would be a couple of slides at the beginning. So like if Mr. Jones had said, like, let me run through, you know, our reading and our math year over year comparison. Here's what our cohorts look like, you know, and then did the rest of the presentation. It would look like that. And like Mr. Mazurk is saying, like, you might at Ridgewood, I know I learned early on, okay, like, wow, there's a lot of ELL learners here. That's a specific free and reduced lunch. So, okay, that's, you know, a cultural issue there. You know, when we go to Ammerman and we see split, you know, we see, okay, here's what the Alps kids scores are and here's what the like homeschool. Okay, this school is confronting, you know, having a lot of Alps kids. So it's like, if you see that, then you get a little bit more of the cultural picture maybe of what's going on in that school. That's what it gave me a lot of the time.
I look at it as there's two values, right? One, because we do have a young board, it helps you guys learn and see some things, but also it allows the schools to bring, you know, maybe an important issue that they have that they want to bring forward. And so it's a dual purpose. I'm pushing it more because I think it'll help the board. We want to grow and become more knowledgeable and it'll help you in the future. So I'm pushing it from that side of it. But again, I'm just throwing it out as an idea. We can discuss it and decide, you know, what we do.
And timeline wise, we could do that next, you know, the next round of all the schools
you know,
next fall.
maybe
So
we
it's
continue
not-
this year out as it is, but maybe think about next year putting a piece of that in there.
I did a couple comments or questions for me on that. First of all, you can say I'm young until you're blue in the face. You keep if I could have a chorus of your.
He forgot beautiful
That's right. That's right.
And humble too.
It does seem like the marching order now is sort of highlights what's been going on. You know, what's been in place lately. It seemed like the last year or two presentations have been sort of how are you getting through COVID? What did you learn from COVID? Right. So when did that change? Maybe I do remember at Silver Spring when I first came on the board. That was the one that really comes to mind where they did some of that data presentation. That was a couple years ago, maybe now. But so when was that a conscious decision to change? I don't remember this ever being how did it
The
change?
board did
and
not
why?
dictate it.
Yeah.
Megan might be, or Mike, or, yeah, I mean, I don't, like Aaron, since he's not here, I mean, I don't know if Rebecca, you were here when that, it would have been internal from Colt to the building leaders, because we did not ever say like, you know what we don't want is data. Like, we never said that. It might have been like shorten the meetings or change this focus, or do you remember, was there?
Yeah. And I agree, the shift, I'm not actually against the shift, because as we went from pre-COVID into COVID, and it was, you know, now we're just dealing with a lot of other stuff. It became a little bit less about the scores and what are we doing helping our kids get through this? And so things shifted a bit. Now that we're post-COVID, I don't know that I want to walk away from this completely, but I would suggest that maybe we put a piece of that back in. So that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was going to say, even highlighting, areas, watch points, I think is helpful for us to just, I don't know, have it somewhere that we can refer back to, and especially when we get that big summary at the end of the year of all of the progress and challenge areas and.
Yeah, I'll go back to always my business focus is you only improve on the things you focus on. And so when you start focusing on the data and where maybe, as a district, we do pretty good overall, right? We don't have any like gaping holes or that. But if you only focus on the superstars, sometimes you miss some folks that, how do we help them? And so each school may be slightly different, but when you first start focusing on the data, you can now start saying, okay, well, how are we going to make that better, right? And what, as a board, do we need to be doing? I bring it back to my other story about what are we thinking about? What do we have to be 5 years from now? So as we see the data, maybe we learn some things about, okay, that's an idea we need to plan for the future.
I think we need to be sort of thoughtful about this because I don't think I would never say that the presentations that we're getting now are like missing anything, right? I mean, they're wonderful. They're the highlights of our year. But to Jim's point, I think there is some data out there that would probably be meaningful to us, right? And helpful for us to know. I'd be cautious about the presentation turning into, not that I think it would, but turning into just a presentation on where we are on all these numbers, and then you miss all the, a good half an hour on unified schools. So I'm just putting out a watch point, not any sort of opinion on it.
I think you agree. There's got to be a blend, and it's not just looking at the data, but what does the data tell you? Data is meaningless unless you turn it into knowledge, right? So it's just about sharing here's something we're seeing, and what does that mean, and what are some things we need to be looking at? So
I had a wondering in this meeting, because I was so bowled over by a year ago's meeting, by the dialogue about not the flipped classrooms, but the thing where it was the seventh grade science teacher and like the whole seventh grade cohorts got together. Yeah, and basically it's not the flipped classroom. That's the first way I heard about it.
It's the modern classroom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, anyway, they went to a thing on their own time and they learned about it. They came back. It had they were talking about how they were going to present it to other peers. I was really excited to hear about that because they were refreshed and energized by this. And I know because I talked to an ALPS teacher was also doing it and she was glowing about it. So I would love to hear just maybe, I don't know, a little update on how that's going, if it continues to be something that teachers are finding valuable, just because we did hear about it and I was so excited about the opportunities. I have a student in a math class that's learning that way at the high school right now. She's really liked it, and it's been a different kind of cadence of homework and other stuff, but it's worked out. And so I don't know, that would be if there was just even an update to the board in writing or a memo, or if someone wants to speak to that, I'm curious.
I do know it's moved into the sixth grade, as I've done parent-teacher conferences this year.
Just comments I've never known where all my students were the same as I do now. And I'm so clear on who's where. And it was really impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, so are we all in favor of kind of potentially putting this on the next committee of the whole meeting? I think that's April 18. Talk more about this, or at least think about it internally, and Cole think about it as well. And
I don't have a specific, I'm just saying it's something to think about, and maybe it's something that we look at is how do we find that balance between what we're doing today and what we used to do, and find something in between.
All right, any other questions or comments from board members? Nothing? All right. Thank you. I'm sorry, yeah.
I would love to hear how the opening of the art house IB.
I was going to pop into that. Yeah, it's so impressive to see all of the masterpieces and the materials that they use. And the theme that really stood out to me, and the ones that I looked at, was that, I guess as parents, we don't always know what our kids are thinking about, wondering about, struggling with. And, I have a daughter who has some struggles, and, there's a part of it that's okay, what is she going to reveal, right? Is she going to be the only one that reveals these really interesting themes? And so many of the students talked about how their artwork showed their transition from childhood to adolescence to near adulthood. And Some of the pictures were like, okay, this is adult art. It's really cool to see just how they're representing themselves and figuring themselves out in the world. And there was one, there was one youngster, well, I guess they're not youngsters, one adult, one 18-year-old senior who had a ceramic piece with wire coming out, and she was describing that that's how her, she figures out how her emotions are kind of intertwined, and it just was really, it's amazing to see what Ms. Miller has helped these kids learn how to connect with for themselves and express, and it was, I hope you guys go check it out. I mean, there were so many parents, it was like standing room only, and you're like walking like this, trying to be, mindful of space and the art pieces, not wanting to knock them off of the stands. And I mean, it's really cool. So go check it out. It was really fun, and so much hard work and energy and vulnerability, I guess, is the other real thing that shined through for so many kids.
How much longer do we have to look at it? What's the,
Till April 1st.
April 1st? All
Oh,
right.
it comes and it goes. Did I miss the hearing, or is it later in the year? Because the early childhood education used to do their art presentation at the center, right? And I loved doing that too. Is that coming, or it's coming? In the parking lot at Old Village.
It's usually when it's a little bit warmer. Yeah.
Yeah, just also another, like a interesting bookend, right?
Yeah.
To see the kids and the teachers, their creativity, and then, this is real art, but,
it's phenomenal.
so. Well, and to think about, the old Hillside, right, with the ceiling tiles where kids in the art class could do their own, art piece, and then it was installed and, forever lasting. So that is, that's no longer in effect, but just to see that these, so many of the kids obviously came from Hillside to Northville High School. And it's amazing.
I think I failed to mention something, and I just want to put it out there. The attention to having a playground here came out in tonight's meeting. And I don't know, have I become the queen of playground monitoring, but I think that that's a lovely idea. We used to have an adapted playground at OVS back when we had our physically high needs kids there. And things have changed over time, but we do, I'm delighted to hear that we're thinking about having a way for physical activity and play to be part of this school. And I hope that OVS takes the opportunity to jump on the playground bandwagon and continue to grow their playscapes in that space too, because that is, we all recognize the value of play and physical activity and getting respite. That was another little message that came to us, as we need a relief. And, so I also know that it's important to academic achievement too. So anyway, bravo to Hillside asking for.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Kim, because one of the things that I always love about our middle schools is the fact that we have that extended period where the kids can eat lunch and then also have recess. I think we maybe as parents, I knew I took it for granted, and that is really not the case in a lot of middle schools where they make different choices about what their students are doing. And I agree with you completely how important that is for the kids to have that downtime, and that I think that it helps academically as well as emotionally. It's so important and can't be overstated.
Yeah. I really love too that because my son is a rising sixth grader, we did get to enjoy the Hillside presentation, and they really talked about, when is it safe to use your own device? And lunch was a time that was like kind of in the yellow zone, right? That they're really encouraging kids to go out and play and use that time to connect face to face and have fun, blow off steam. So I'm sorry I missed the whole Hillside presentation. Yeah, that raises a whole question in my mind. I was thinking there was some research this week that was released about the complete crisis that especially girls, especially in high school, are in. And, there's a lot of study on why, and, screens continue to come up. This week's, the examination was on over-parenting, essentially, like removing independence. And so it was talking about play. And I don't, maybe something to think about is, what we are doing in general about devices, and, whether we're feeding into, the sixth graders getting to put their phones down and spending a week together, or a few, not a week.
It wasn't a week. Thank goodness.
Does it feel like a week?
Spring camp was
I remember
only a
you
long
being gone and
weekend.
feeling like it was a week,
It
but
felt like a week when I was there, but it was much less.
But I wish it were, and I wish, I mean, so like devices I mean, I know there's differences in the buildings and, you know, there's differences of opinion about devices and whatnot, but I'm just mindful about what we're hearing about mental health, about what we're seeing in kids accessing things. Like, I can't believe what my kids have been shown on other kids' devices that I'm like horrified, and I'm, you know, it's something to think about, whether there's anything differently we could be doing to promote the socialization, the team building. I always cringe when I hear my kid is like, I played my video game at lunch, and I'm like, you know, God, you know.
Well, I appreciated that Ms. Provo, I think it was Ms. Provo in that presentation kept saying, she had a slide that said, does your child need a phone to come to middle school? No. Do we recommend they have their own device? Yes, like a laptop or a Chromebook or something that is part of the curriculum.
That is, yeah.
And yet I love that message is starting now, right? That my oldest is now a 12th grader. So it was quite a few years ago that we were starting this middle school phase. So I think that is such an important age for growing connections with peers and learning who they are and trying things and succeeding sometimes, failing other times, and doing that always with a phone is.
Yeah. I mean, we've never recommended, for example, we recommend kids get their first phone in 8th grade. I mean, we don't, or 7th or whatever, you know, like, it's not we can't dictate to people what they're going to do with their kids. I'm not suggesting we do, but.
But it is about opening up the dialogue,
we could
right?
recommend, you know, we could put a thumb on the scale. Anyway, this is just something, another maybe topic to think about is, you know, what would be best practices for that issue, because it seems like it's contributing to illness, unwellness.
Remember your closed session minutes, put them on the front.
Yep.
So Megan can collect.
And I think we have 2 Tuesdays off. The next 2 Tuesdays off, we have spring break next week, right? I don't know, before we adjourn, I wish all of you a nice,
Spring break.
restful, fun, whatever your adjective is, spring break. Jim, you're done with yours, but the
I'm done
rest
with
of you-
mine, but
Get to work.
Any other questions, comments? All right, I will call us adjourned at 8:50. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Great meeting.